I am incredibly proud of the AHB team and their ability to bring the first fully recyclable and truly sustainable mattress to the Australian market. There are about 1.8 million mattresses that end up in landfill every year in Australia. The Origins program's been built to be able to be deconstructed and avoid the product having to end up in landfill. In fact, most of the components have a known second utilisation. AHB's been a driving force, and particularly our chairman Gary Beard, in recycling in Australia. We do have a problem with mattresses at end of life ending up in landfill. We wanted to solve that problem by building Australia's first fully recyclable mattress, but in a totally and truly sustainable way. So building a range at a competitive price point was incredibly important to us. We know that a large proportion of the population are driven to purchase sustainability where they can, but research has shown us that the market's not necessarily willing to pay significantly more for it. Look, it all starts with our growers. So the product uses a lot of natural fibres. We chose to work with Australian wool growers, both a wide range of growers, but also single origin sourced products like our partners at Cloven Hill. We've also got organic cotton, we've got naturally derived tencel. We're also working with some partners around the world that have been able to build the world's first fully recyclable support spring system. Manufacturing in Australia has been really prohibitive for a long period of time, and typically what that means as a manufacturer is you look to reduce cost. What we didn't want to do was reduce cost by downsizing the workforce. The average tenure of an employee at AHB is over 16 years. What we wanted to do is bring a product to market that requires that high-hand craftsmanship to retain the workforce. While Australia is renowned for growing some of the highest quality wool, it typically leaves our shores for processing before coming back to Australia. So we've worked with partners like Woolstar, EP Robinson, to bring all of that processing of Australian high quality wool back to Australian shores. We're also partnering with people like Soft Landing that are recycling our products to avoid them going into landfill at end of life, and also creating employability or employment options for people that typically had barriers to employment. The next visual, the natural evolution from the AHB Origin series, is how do you take our learnings from a sustainable product and then translate that across all the operations of our business? How do we transition our business into a truly sustainable business? So the product's been built to be able to quite easily deconstruct it. At the end of life, literally you can cut off the tufts, undo the stitching, and really take it down to a very small amount of raw component. You're going to be left with some natural fibres, being the wool, the tencel fabric, which is a derivative of the eucalyptus tree, some organic cotton, some steel that essentially can be directed straight to a second life. While we see some opportunity for local growth, we see a large growth opportunity in our export channel. Exports out of Australia to Southeast Asia have been some of the fastest growing demand markets for AHB, and we're already seeing signs of significant growth demand for a sustainable product. Yeah, absolutely. AHB currently employs over 450 families across our 7 facilities, both in Australia and New Zealand. It's been incredibly difficult to operate as an Australian manufacturer, and typically what you would do is downsize your workforce. We definitely don't want to do that. What we want to do is retain the highly skilled master craftsmanship in our business, that retained knowledge, by upskilling our employees. What the Origins program is going to help us do is retain our family of families, the 450 people across our facilities. We're also trying to educate consumers about what it takes to create a really high quality product that's going to create great sleep outcomes for you, and educate on the link between sleep and wellness.
The beautiful part is the quality of sleep you get from sleeping on the natural fibres is completely different to what we've had in the past, whereby they breathe, the combination, the type of coils, gives you the best sleep that you can get. The bed is the worst thing you can put into landfill. It will never squash down, no matter, you've probably seen steamrollers going over beds, it will never squash. Over the last 2 years, we have been involved in stopping 1.2 million beds going into landfill, which equates to 1.2 million cubic metres of waste. We yearly make 350,000 beds. So it's 350,000 cubic metres we're generating just ourselves. So there has to be a responsibility, granted we've been around for 120 years, there has to be a responsibility taken by somebody. It's the start of the journey, but it wouldn't have happened without the enthusiasm and the guidance of our CEO, Tony. But it also encapsulated our young team in the marketing and design to use old talents and then having those talents available on the factory floor to come up with what I think is one of the best ranges that AHB has ever made. The first thread was, out of 120 years of being in business, we've had craftsmen and craftswomen involved in the business, but they passed down their talents to generations on the factory floor. That has given us the ability to make beds like we used to make 50, 70 years ago. Hand-stitched, handmade, back to the real essence of putting a bed together by hand. It's still 100% family-owned. We're 100% Australian-made and very proud that we can tell the story. Yes, we do have the 5th generation involved in the business. 3 of my children are involved, Matthew, Sally, Rachel. We have a vision of AHB 200. We've made it through 120 years, so the kids actually were very instrumental in aiming for AHB 200.
As a rule of thumb, we should replace our mattress every 7 to 10 years, but there are signs that you can look for, whether it's physiologically or even on the mattress itself. So if you're waking up with aches or pains, or if you feel like you're tossing and turning, or if you've had your mattress for 20 years, or if it's a hand-me-down, it's time to change your mattress. Origins is unlike anything we've done before. It's going to completely change the way, hopefully, that people look at the mattress industry. We know that over 1 million mattresses end up in landfill, which is a huge problem. So AHB wants to be a part of the solution. So we've created Origins that has sustainability at its core. We know that we've chosen premium natural fibres, comfort coils, and a support system that's going to not only provide pressure relieving comfort, but deep down support, so that when you lie down and you go to sleep, you can have the best possible chance at a good night's sleep. Within AHB Origins, there are 3 collections, which allows you to choose a mattress for every sleeper and every budget. The difference as you progress through the range is the quality and the quantity of the components. So as you step up towards the Prosperity collection, there's more components in there at a higher quality. For example, like the world's first 100% recyclable Evo coil. Origins enables us to bring awareness to the impact that mattresses are having on the environment. We know that being one of the leading manufacturers that we are contributing to this, but we are also doing something about it. It is so important now more than ever to be conscious about our impact on the environment.
The wool we produce is not suitable for fine suits that merino wool goes into. We have crossbred or composite sheet, which produce wool, but it's a coarser wool. We're supplying AHB our entire wool clip, which is about 100 bales. 100 bales is about 20,000 kilograms of wool. And AHB's core values in Cloven Hills, I think as Chris mentioned before, in terms of the sustainability aspect, meet up really well.
The sheep grow about 1 centimetre of wool per month, and then we harvest that wool through the shearing process. So they would have a staple length which could be 10 to 12 centimetres long, and they could produce about 3.5, 4 kilos of wool per head, and that then gets put into a bale, pressed up into about 185 kilo bale, and those bales then get transported from the farm to our clients for further processing. Getting it from the paddock to the ultimate end user has a lot of steps in the chain, and all of those steps create jobs and keep people employed.
I think the pandemic hopefully reinforces to consumers too how important it is to do that locally in Australia and support local farmers.